Hare Krishna. Question: in the Mahabharata it is said that Kunti never spoke a lie, and that's why when she said that Draupadi, that whatever you got, share it. So the Pandavas shared Draupadi as their common wife. But then, in that during the some time before that, when Bakasur was to be killed, and Kunti told the Brahmanas who were hosting them that that Bhima had some special mantra given by a god by which he could kill even powerful demons. Now, she spoke this so as to not reveal Bhima's identity. And wasn't this a lie? So how can it be said that that Kunti never spoke a lie? Answer: there is standard dharma and there is apad dharma. Apad dharma means the duty to be followed in emergency situations. So consider when the Pandavas are in Agyatwas, when they are meant to live incognito. Now if they are asked to identify themselves, and when say Yudhishthir goes into or Arjuna goes into Virat's palace, and at that time if they are asked who they are, now if Arjuna says I am Arjuna, then there is just no way they can maintain the Agyatavas. So in times of emergency there is apad dharma, and in the scriptures itself, especially in the Puranas, there are, even in the Bhagavatam there is a reference to apad dharma, and Prabhupada himself talked about it, that if there is a matter of life or death, normally one shouldn't eat meat, but if there is a matter of life or death, then one for surviving one can eat meat, if it's a matter of absolute survival. So that is apad dharma. So like that, when they were in danger in the Agyatavas, as well as when the Pandavas were in danger when they had fled earlier, when they had been in Varanavarth and an attempt had been made to burn them alive. At that time it was an emergency situation for heirs, for those who were members of the royal family meant to become kings in future, for them to be living incognito, in poverty, was definitely an emergency situation. So in that emergency situation, whatever was required within that emergency situation, they did that. So one thing was that they had to conceal their identity. Now in this particular case, Kunti's purpose was that they had lived with the Brahmana. The Brahmana family had offered them hospitality, and they wanted to do something to reciprocate with them. And when the Brahmana's family faced the danger of having to send a family member as food for Bakasur, Kunti felt this was an excellent way in which they could serve the Brahmana family, and they could also do their Kshatriya duty of protecting their citizens, protecting the people in general, by ridding them of this menace of the man-eating demon. But they at the same time couldn't risk revealing their identity, and so she had to speak something counterfactual at that time. So her speaking at that time is not considered a violation of her truthfulness, because that was an emergency situation, and the apad dharma, the emergency dharma, allows for the subordination or suspension of certain principles of dharma, such as truthfulness, when there is an emergency. And that apad dharma was what Kunti followed. Now the Pandavas decided to have Draupadi as their shared wife, not just because Kunti said it. Yes, Kunti's saying was one thing which initiated that whole idea, but later on it was Vyasadev's confirmation and Vyasadev's description of a past life history which made this a will of destiny. That was all came together and made and arranged to make Draupadi the shared wife of the Pandavas. Thank you. Hare.